Good Friday afternoon, evening, Saturday morning, wherever you may be.
Hey.
Oh, you're using that mic. Did you not get your other mic working?
I can use the other mic and then.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
Let's see if it works today. Victor got a new microphone when? A couple months ago, but we haven't used it.
Years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just never made it work.
Okay.
That's how efficient I am.
Okay.
Here we go. That's the new mic.
That's loud. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Loud is not a problem. I can lower the volume,
No.
but
Noisy.
being bad
Noisy.
is... yes.
Bad is bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's go
yes.
back.
What can you do?
Hi. We should have done this like hours ago, but we didn't, and that's fine. Oh yeah, it's amazing how
There
good
we
that. Yeah, night and day difference. We've got to figure that out. That's really annoying. I have other ideas. Hi, by the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. That comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, and on Fridays when we're around. May not be here in a couple of weeks, because Victor is going to be sunning or sleeping, one or the other. We do News of the Week. Now, last week, we went through the news fast and did some live stuff with Olama. I want to do the same thing this week, but I'm working with something different.
Okay.
And we're using Olama under the hood.
Oh, I love that. That would be another live demo.
It'll be another live demo. We'll see if it works.
Nothing I like more.
So thanks, everybody. Yes, it's more than fine to have a beer during this happy hour.
Oh, yeah.
Just not Victor. Oh,
Yeah, I still have a couple of meetings ahead of me.
meetings left. Yes, TGIF. Has it been a long week to you? Has it felt like a long week, or has it flown by?
Oh, it's been a very long week. I got announcements about KubeCon early this week, and that means that now I'm in full speed.
Yep. So did you get in?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. 3 talks, actually.
3?
I mean, 2 in KubeCon and 1 in collocated event.
Right. Rejects?
No.
Not rejects.
Up delivery, something.
Okay. Cool. Ingen, it is a cool shirt. I don't remember how I got it. I think it showed up on my doorstep. This is the scary thing. January is almost done. Can you believe it? The year is almost already a 12th over.
I had Christmas a few days ago. That's how it feels.
Yeah. Well, we're getting ready to have Christmas again in just a couple of days. Is what it feels like. Nikos, good to see you. Let's just get into it, because there's actually a lot of news, but we're not going to dwell on it a whole lot unless we want to. We'll see how it goes.
Perplexity one of those news?
No?
No? Okay.
Should it be?
I don't know. I was just more curious. I hear about it all the time. I thought that you went through it. Okay.
No. I haven't. This week's podcast, we talked with Leanne Lee about developer relations and dealing with that and how companies may or may not be doing it. If you're in a path to where it's like, hey, these DevRel people, all they do is go from conference to conference to conference, and they live high on the hog, is a phrase that I use. They're always flying first class. They're always getting all the free booze. They're always getting...
Wait. I wasn't aware of that. I need to renegotiate the conditions of my job, if that's how it works.
If that's how you think it works, listen to this week's episode. There's some sobering things we talked about. So, navigating the nuances of developer relations. Again, Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern. Next week is just me and Victor, and I haven't even started editing it yet. I am so far behind. I need like 3 weeks off so I can get caught up editing. Like, get everything done. Can I do that? I can't. EKS now supports...
Actually, you can. I bet you can. Because that's the cultural difference, kind of. I bet that you had like 3 days of vacation in total last year, and now you feel like you're overstretching yourself, right? Possibly.
I did have longer than that last year for the first time in quite a few years. So that's good. Let's get through this. EKS is now 129. This is sort of the standard announcement once they release a new version, how they consider GA. But this is also the first version where they're going to start supporting the extended support. I want to call this out because this is different than all the other times. So they usually, in these blog posts, blah, 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 talk about all the things, and you always go to the bottom. And it's that bottom, Kubernetes version support in EKS. Right? This is what we want to look at. So it provides support for seven Kubernetes versions, 123 through 129. Holy cow. Standard support is 124 through 129. 123 is an extended support. Now, this is the first time I've seen this. There's actually a new tab or a new link in this paragraph. I have a feeling what they do is they go into Markdown, make a copy of the 128 one, made it 129, tweaked out a few things, and just like we all do.
Of course.
Right? That's what we do.
Is there any other way to do it?
If there is, I don't know about it. Let's see. What am I looking for? That's what I thought it was. Oh, that's learning more about, was it FAQs? Nope, that's not it. I found here it is. It's this one. I lied again. What in the world? Okay, here we go. Maybe this one? It can't be that one. There was a link that was here. Maybe it's this. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So here we are, 129 upstream release. About a month later, they have their release. That's not a bad turnaround.
It's quite fast turnaround.
Yep. And then it's going to go for basically 2 years. You don't know what the date is, but it's going to be somewhere in that month. Then plus a year for extended support. But look at the bottom. This is what we want to start looking for. End of standard for 124 is in 5 days. So if you're on 124, get ready to start paying that 6 times cost for your control plane that we talked about last week.
And what I mentioned last week, you deserve to pay it in that case.
Yeah. I mean, if you know that, we can't do it right now, we're closing out our end of year, everything else, can't touch it, but we'll have it done by February. Okay, you pay an extra, $400 for a month. Okay, cost of doing business. But then start looking at this. Here's the scary part. May, 125 goes away. 3 months. 4 months? 4 months. And then June, 126 starts going away. Notice how this sort of ramps up. July, 127 goes away.
Every 3 months?
They're peeling it up. Well, sort of. May, June, July. I mean, it's like they back those up right up against each other. And then it gets into the more normal. To where I think they're going to end up with probably, 4 when it's all said and done? In normal life, it'll be about 4?
In normal, yeah. I guess it would be 4. 1 year, right?
Well, it's 1 year. Well, the version will go on 1 year. Yeah. Maybe 5 versions to where they won't be doing 7 anymore. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So anyway, EKS 129. Start your planning now. Do we still recommend that you go through each of those, or can you jump versions?
I mean, technically you could jump, but then I hope you're religious, because only deity of your choice will be able to help you if things go wrong.
Yeah, because if it goes wrong, it's going to go wrong in a very bad way.
And when I say you can jump, I'm saying when you're self-hosting it.
Yeah.
It's not recommended, but you can. I think, and I might be wrong, that normally cloud providers, hyperscalers do not allow you to do that, because you shouldn't.
Right, because you basically have to walk through each of these. Now, this is the other reason why you want to try to stay at least reasonably up to date, because looking at the end of standard support, you are on a death march, effectively, from 25, 26, 27. Even if you go to 25, you got a month. And then you're going to have to go to 26, and then you got a month. And you got to go to 27, and then once you're in 27, you got about 5 months.
We can have a longer discussion whether that's a good thing or not, but that's simply that's how Kubernetes is organized, right? New release every 3 months, you're expected to be at least not more than a couple of releases behind, right? That's what you signed up for when you adopted Kubernetes. That's what it is. That might be a bad thing. I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not judging now, but you should be aware, you use Kubernetes, you signed up for quarterly updates.
whether you realized it or not.
Exactly. Yeah. And let's face it, I haven't heard internally within my company nor externally any more horror stories. Like a few years ago, there were horror stories of upgrading all the time, but that's mostly calm now. And we even had a conversation. What was it, Joseph? Right? That will be released as a podcast not long from now. They have really huge setup, really kind of like bigger than most, and they're quite close to the latest all the time.
But they have built it in such a way to where they can.
I mean, there's the point of doing business in software, right? You're supposed to build things so that you can do things. If you build things so that you cannot do things, you're building wrong things.
That's deep. That's just deep. Okay, anyway, EKS 129 is out now. So start your upgrades if you haven't. Now, in other Kubernetes news this week, did you know that GKE could be compromised just with anybody with a Gmail address?
I saw that title, kind of newsreel, but I didn't dive into it. I mean, everything can be compromised. Now, I wasn't aware that you can enter somebody's cluster just by having an email address.
Yep. So this has been codenamed sysall by Orca. Here's the scary part. As many as 250,000 active GKE clusters in the wild are estimated to be susceptible to the attack vector. If you're running on GKE, you might want to get this checked out. It's basically because of system authenticated being there.
I've been saying for a long time, the best thing you can do with any Kubernetes cluster, including GKE, is to have access only in a safe for break glass scenarios, and the rest is GitOps, baby. Access cluster only when you have to. Keep it in a safe.
So anyway, specifically about GKE, I would not be surprised if these other things could happen elsewhere. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay. CloudEvents graduated this week. Remember what CloudEvents
Very nice.
is? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is that in CNCF or?
Yeah, it's CNCF.
CNCF, okay. I wasn't sure whether it's CNCF or CDF. Okay.
Well, that's a good question. I think they initially... Now you have me questioning that because I thought
I somehow have it in my head as if it's CDF, but I'm probably wrong.
Let's check. We have that much time. CD Foundation. Projects are under technology. And hello. Thank you. CD events. Yeah, it's under CDF.
Okay.
Oh wait,
okay.
This is CD events, not cloud events.
Okay.
I can't remember if CD events wraps cloud events or not.
I'm not even sure what's the difference. I need to check.
Okay. Anyway, graduation. Yet another graduation on the landscape map.
Now that we saw how successful is OpenTelemetry, everybody wants it. Something similar for whatever else we're doing.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Okay. Docker build cloud. Did you see this announcement?
Okay. Speeding up the builds. Yet another one. Yeah, why not?
Yet another one. Whatever, up to 39 times faster with Docker build cloud. Okay. Multi-architecture, good grief. Multi-architecture builds made effortless. Okay.
Docker, sure. I've seen companies do that before, right? As a SaaS option. I mean, I've seen we speed up your builds without SaaS, which is cool. I've seen SaaS options, but they are having real difficulties, like any SaaS option, to convince anything but small companies to use it, right? Because it's the problem of being an unknown entity. I don't know who you are, and I'm not using you to do my to send you data in some form or another, right? But Docker has that advantage. Docker is not an unknown entity. Docker is something that companies are more likely to trust than some random company that was created 3 months ago, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand how this is any different than their standard builds that they've had all along, right? Because I could submit and it would build for me.
Yeah, but that I don't know in this specific case, but Docker went down the path of removing also things from Hub.
That's true.
So that they can sell things in Hub. So
okay, well, they've got something official now. We'll just say it that way.
Well done.
Okay. Oh right.
For the 5 people who still use Docker Hub.
Be nice.
Okay, I'm nice.
I mean, Hub itself is still important, right?
It is extremely important. So there are a couple of components there, right? Docker successfully managed to convince everybody to use, or significant majority to use Docker Hub for their third party as a distribution platform, right? There is this project or this product, and you need to use container images to get that project product. It's likely going to be in Docker Hub, right? Now, where it's a bit trickier is when we're talking about images for internal usage, right, of my own applications that I'm not distributing to others, but running in my servers. That's where it gets trickier, because there is a strong chance that I'm going to use, that I don't care. Meaning, wherever I'm running stuff, I'm going to use their registry, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft, whatever, right? So that's what I meant by not as Docker Hub being a bad product. It's actually great. But having trouble to convince companies to use it as to move out of their hyperscaler provider, right?
Right. Okay. We're done with Docker Build Cloud for now?
Done.
Sure. Why not? Okay. 2 posts that have different parts of the enterprise. This one from GitHub about developer experience, and this is their report on developer experience. Where do we get better developer experience? Flow state, cognitive ease, and feedback loops. Flow state, stop making me have meetings every 2 hours. Or like I saw a video the other day. It's like, okay, it's boss talking to developer. I'm going to check in with you every 30 minutes. We'll have a 15-minute meeting, and then you can go back and work for 15 minutes, and we'll do that all day. That you're barely remembering how to start your browser back up within that amount of time.
I have a new strategy for meetings myself.
Okay.
That there are some meetings that are important and I need to be in them. And then I have a, calendar notification 15 minutes or sometimes an hour early that pops up and, tells me, oh, you need to be in a meeting, stop whatever you're doing, or start stopping whatever you're doing. But for mass majority, I remove those notifications. Kind of, if I'm in the zone, I will not notice even that I had a meeting and I will not be there.
So that's one report. So that's the development side of the house. Another report from P-A-L-A-R-K. Polark.
Let's say that.
That's good. What motivates DevOps and SRE engineers? So the more operation side of the house. What do you think motivates them?
Money.
Surprisingly, that's a low number. Number one.
Because we're all overpaid.
Number one is learning and trying bleeding edge technologies. What do you like? And then, let's see. Not surprisingly, on-call support is the bottom of the list.
Okay.
So anyway, 2 reports. It's too bad I didn't see Vladislav here. I think Vladislav would like reading both of these reports. I think everybody else will probably pick one or the other. But anyway, that's, again, links are going to be down. I'll try to get them out this afternoon as soon as we're done within 30 minutes. I'll at least get them up in the description afterwards.
Nice.
But I won't have it edited. So 2 good reports. I did look at both of them. They're interesting. They're not surprising, though. Use a little bit of common sense will take you a long way. Okay, so why is that not loading? There we go. They go into sort of in the same family. They were talking about using in the inside of GitHub how they made changes in developer experience and how they started changing everything to make everything better. Unfortunately, they built it on top of Docker Compose, or fortunately, depending on whichever the case may be. Docker Compose. In fact, I'm using Docker Compose on something today that we're going to be seeing. So they called it CodeSpace Compose.
And it's not unfortunate, right?
No.
It's unfortunate. So I think it would be unfortunate if their services would be running in Kubernetes, right? But I have a suspicion that GitHub is not in Kubernetes, right? And then
they are using Minikube here. They call it out. So
okay.
But it's Minikube, right? So it's a different conversation.
Yeah, I'm now confused why would you use Docker Compose in Minikube, but hey, why not?
But anyway, another interesting way to look at how, I will say, the big guys do it. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. This post made me scratch my head. As much as we complain about open source projects that just give us the source and don't, especially if they're on GitHub and they don't provide a release to where I can download a binary, usually we gripe about that, right? That's just,
yes,
we gripe about it. This takes the opposite stance, stating that you don't need to build. A source repository is a source repository, not a binary repository.
Okay.
So, why do we expect builds? Here's the reason why. Venture capital funded open source companies who are shooting for growth. Providing builds make things easy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foundation projects often produce builds, but the build you run may not be built by the project. You might not realize it. Right? That's a different thing. Is do you trust who's building the source?
True.
That's a big deal.
But that would mean that I'm probably getting build instructions from elsewhere than the project itself.
Right. And the last one, GitHub Actions, gives you the ability to do it easily. Right? So it's there.
Exactly.
But here's the reasons why not to provide builds. You have to do maintenance work to keep the builds working properly.
Come on.
I think the
last point was GitHub Actions, right?
Yeah.
So what maintenance is expected to be done on a pipeline that does whatever it's doing and at the end of it builds it and pushes it to GitHub registry, right? No maintenance. I mean, very, very, very low maintenance. Not a valid argument. I don't think so.
Usually. Well, it depends. I'm thinking about Hugo. They build for Windows, Linux, Mac. Multi-arc, producing container images, doing all the things.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, again, it's do it once. To me, the reason in favor to do it is simply it takes not much more effort to put it inside your GitHub Actions or whatever pipelines you're using than for me to compile it. But then there are thousands of me having to compile it, right? Instead of one of you having to put it into GitHub Actions.
If I can get a build, this is sort of going into why you might not want to take a build from the project. They go into some things, some regulations doesn't meet certifications like FIPS or other things. Well, but if I can produce it for the 90% that don't need FIPS, it's there.
Exactly. If there is a project, open source project that has a build, has releases, has built binaries, that does not mean that you cannot build it. It just means that you don't have to if you don't want to. And the reason why I'm so eager that we always have releases is because we use tools from projects written in different languages. And I don't have a strong desire. So let's say that I'm right now working in Go. Of course I can compile Go. I already have Go on my machine. But then am I going to install everything else that any project might need? Oh, you need Node.js for this. You need Python for that. You need .NET something for something else, right? there are so many technologies and so many frameworks and then build tools, right? Some tools are not built by executing command, by require end or Maven or I don't know, whatever cool kits, a Gradle or whatever people are using these days. It's unrealistic for me to be expected to install everything that ever existed so attack and compile different projects. No.
I still think it's a good article. And it does make you think. It's like, oh, okay, there are cases to where we may not want it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And you should know yourself whether or not you can take something or not. That's what I take away from this. That's my opinion on this. But it covers all the angles. I thought it was a good read. Okay. This one, I don't know. There's a GitHub action called Evergreen that appears to wrap Dependabot.
Okay.
And it says it will take care of all the things.
So kind of go deeper than Dependabot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still, okay, so here we go. So inside their OSPO, they wanted to make it easier to deploy Dependabot version updates throughout the organization. They created Evergreen, acts as a dependency management assistant for your teams, Copilot, ensuring that Dependabot versions are enabled and configured consistently across your repositories. I don't know.
I'm not sure I get it, but yay.
Yeah. Well, it appears that, okay, once the GitHub action triggers, it checks whether or not Dependabot version updates is enabled for all the repositories in your organization.
It's kind of ensuring that Dependabot runs in the first place.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what it appears to me. But it's an action you can use if you want. Okay, a couple of quick tools. CVEMap, in case you're dealing with CVEs, like a number of people I knew that were doing this week. It does more than just the standard database. It does a lot of different databases. So I thought that was cool. Mapping to a lot of different things. All right, Link Patrol. You write everything in Markdown.
Yes.
Or excuse me, most everything is in Markdown.
Close to everything, yes.
Yeah.
That is text.
That is text, right. So Link Patrol will find dead links in Markdown files.
Okay.
You never have dead links in your Markdown files, do you?
Not in the things I did today.
Exactly. So it'll go out and check everything and tell you what's working and what's not.
Nice.
Then it's up to you to do whatever you want. Okay. We've been mean to me about how bad my internet has been. I found last week that this studio, for whatever reason, I was only getting 100 megabit, which inside my house should be fine. I mean, I only have a 20 megabit up, but 100 megabit internally was like, okay, how do I do it? Well, I broke out iPerf. Set up iPerf on a machine that's down at the edge of the network. Like it's right beside the router. Or actually, it's plugged into the router. So it's as close to the outside world as I can make it. I found this was 100 megabit, and everywhere else in the house was a gigabit, which is what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So it turns out my switch that's in this studio is acting weird. So I had a cable plugged into the back of my Mac Studio. In fact, it had been plugged into the Mac Mini. I tested them both. Same cable using the internal Ethernet port on both of those machines. 100 megabit. That's it. I actually had an OWC outboard Thunderbolt that had a gigabit port on it. I plugged that same cable in. So I went basically 1, 2, 3. I got a gigabit. I was like, what is going on? But I started thinking, it's like, okay, iPerf is great. I can do lots of things with it, but I have to set it up. I have to run it manually. I found a thing called OpenSpeedTest. Anybody in the US may be used to seeing speedtest.net. But this is something you can run locally. It's a container image. You spin it up. In fact, inside my network, this is what it looks like. I click on Start, and we'll see if everything holds up. So now I'm getting whatever, 500 down, and then I'll get 900 up. And that's happening against a Raspberry Pi down against the router.
Okay.
So now it's like, now I can test inside my house. It's like, okay, what's going on? I don't need a fancy, I don't have to do iPerf. I don't need a fancy handheld tester to go around the ports, even though I probably should do one of those now. Now everything just works.
Very cool. Now you have no excuse for disappearing in the middle of something.
Well, no, that's not true. But that will. But anyway, OpenSpeedTest. If you're trying to chase down problems, and you've got a machine that you can run Docker on or some other container engine, OpenSpeedTest is stupid easy. I found,
nice.
We're going back to Docker Compose. I created a little Docker Compose file and said, Docker Compose up. Done.
Very cool.
Okay. We were talking about what we're going to play with today. CrewAI. CrewAI.
What is it? AI agents imagined for engineers.
Yeah. So
a translation for that.
Well, let's look at the code, and that'll make it more make sense. So when you go over to GitHub, this is where the real documentation is. If you want the deep documentation, go to the wiki. That's not what we're going to look at right now. Just the home page will get you there. So you have to pip install crewAI. In this example that we're going to run, we're going to use DuckDuckGo. So it's actually going to get data from the outside world. And let's take a look at the output, or what we're building. So importing a couple things. I am not using OpenAI. I'm actually using because you can pass in whatever LLM you want to an agent. We'll talk about agents in a minute.
Okay.
So I'm using this one. I'm using OpenHermes. That's the one I'm using.
What's OpenHermes?
OpenHermes is a model for a llama, like llama or whatever. It's a model. Basically for this, I wanted to just copy and paste this and see how it worked. And then I'll start getting more fancy.
Okay.
So this example has two agents. Think of these as two people. The first one you've got is a senior research analyst. The goal is to uncover cutting-edge developments in AI and data science. And you give it a backstory. Verbose is for logging, which we'll look at.
Yeah.
Allow delegation means, is this going to be a team player or is it just going to do this one thing? And then tools, you pass in whatever tools you want. And then if you want to use a local LLM, you can specify it, which is what I'm doing. We'll see that in my code. Then I have a second one, which is a tech content strategist. Craft compelling content on tech advancements. You're a renowned blah, 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 blah. Okay. This time, though, allow delegation as true. That means the research analyst can delegate stuff to the... I get it flipped around. I can't remember if it's... This one means it can... no, this is right. Allow delegation means this one can delegate things to other people.
That's a real manager. That's a CTO.
Or not. Because the CTO would be... go to the golf course. That's where you spend most of your time.
Okay. Mid-management.
Mid-management, yes. And then you give it tasks. And within so you tell it what you want. And you assign it optionally to a researcher. Or excuse me, to an agent. Researcher is the agent, right? Then we have a writer agent that is going to be task 2. You give it whatever you want to do and assign the writer. Again, if you don't assign an agent, it's going to pick one of the agents. Just whichever one it thinks is best. So you define agents, or you define a crew, you pass in the agents, and you pass in the tasks. At this point, the only way tasks run today is sequentially. So task 1 will complete. The output from task 1 will be fed into task 2.
Okay. And is there some kind of supervisor? Kind of... and this persona combines all that and makes a decision or something like that. Because to me, this looks like a team, right? Kind of like
it is.
You have different personas in a team, and then you have a boss.
There's no boss here. The boss is crew.
Okay.
Right. So you're defining outside. You're defining what this crew is going to look like. You're defining all of the tasks. They're going to be done sequentially, which is fine, right? They're working on different models for task management. And you kick it off, and then you wait. So let me flip over to, I got to stop the screen here real quick and share this. All right, so here I am inside of Visual Studio Code. So I had to make a couple of small changes. So I got rid of the OpenAI because I'm not using, OpenAI API key. The example that we were just looking at was using some older LangChain imports. So I changed up those imports, or the froms, I should say. But then everything else stays the same. Where I'm still using the search tool. It's using DuckDuckGo. That's what we're defining here. And then I'm passing in the LLM that I want to use, which I've defined here, OpenHermes. The two agents, the two tasks are exactly the same, and then this at the end. So I just tweaked out the definitions a little bit of the models. So if I run this and say Python 3 main, I'm also running this inside of a virtual environment, so like Python virtual environment, just to keep things clean. I'm going to try to write all this up because their instructions are, like, for somebody that's, number one, not used to Python on a daily basis, I'm trying to get all the different pieces in place. While this is running, actually here, let me slide this up a little bit. So the working agent is senior research analyst.
Wait, stop there. Is this
stop.
VS Code, Darin?
This is inside of VS Code, yeah.
Weren't you diehard IntelliJ?
No, I haven't. I mean, yes, but I haven't used it in a while.
Just checking.
I didn't renew my license a couple of years ago. This has been fine for me because I'm not coding on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
That's the key part here. So it's working through. Now I handed off the research to the tech content strategist here. And then there's thoughts and actions. Now this thing has gone sideways quite a few times. Obviously you run it and it never gives you the same answer twice.
Oh yeah, that's AI in general, right?
Yeah. So, and it got into like a doom loop for me earlier to where it produced like three things all at one time and got confused. But anyway, so I'm still waiting on it, But see, it's going back and forth here. Let's see if I can find this. The action, ask question to coworker. So the tech content strategist, now can I make the blog post? So it's going back and forth with the analyst.
Yeah.
So the action input is analyze the AI advances, whatever. So sometimes I've run this, like I get this every once in a while, invalid format, missing action, afterthought. So it can get into a weird state.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you can sort of filter through all that noise, it's actually pretty darn amazing. Because I can set up my team and set up the tasks and then let it go off and do the things. Now, again, I could use OpenAI and it'd probably give me better answers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could connect this to GPT, right?
Yeah. I just don't have a current key.
Yeah.
And this one failed due to iteration or time limit. So I'll run it again one more time while it's going there. So sometimes you just need to give it a couple times. So I'm trying to figure out because this is analyst, content writer. What do I want to do in what we do? Like, who are the agents? And then what are the tasks that those agents do? And here's the other thing that I like about being able to provide my own model is the analyst. Right now, I'm giving the same model to both agents. But
yeah,
what I want to do is I want to give different models.
That's probably where the real value lies, right? Because I somehow, I guess, and I might be wrong, that I could probably, with a better description, do all that in one go without multiple agents, right? If I use this model, do this, do that, and pretend to be this and that at the same time. Probably I could instruct somehow my model to do something very similar, but it's a model, right? But if different agents are different models with different experience, with different data in the model, then that sounds very promising.
There is a model. Well, let me tell you one thing. That specifically, there is one model with Olama that is specifically for doing SQL statements.
There we go. Exactly, right? And I suspect that we will be seeing that more and more, that we will be seeing models that are specialized, right? Because let's say Kubernetes, right? Because that's what I work with most of the time. There is a limit to how much a generic model like OpenAI can help me with Kubernetes, right? Yeah, of course, it knows a lot. But having a specialized model could probably bring value that is not there right now, right? And the same thing, maybe let's say specialized model with cloud, with AWS. And then we combine those two because I'm running Kubernetes in AWS. And then that can give me probably some really interesting results.
Yep. So it finished this time with an answer at the end. So remember, the line of hashes was the end. So here's the final result for the blog post, which is honestly very underwhelming. But the concept is very interesting. And the thing I liked is the analyst went out first to do, in theory, research on DuckDuckGo, and then let that help feed everything else down the line. So it shouldn't have been fully generated. One of the rules I did like about this that was pretty funny, and I see a lot of comments that I want to get back over to real quick. For the tech content, was it this one? Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't this one. One of these examples that I saw was basically, you know how to write so you don't look like an AI agent. It wasn't this one. It was pretty funny. Now, let me flip back over to. I want to flip back over to the docs real quick because there was an interesting thing in the doc that I want everybody to look at. So if you have nothing to do this weekend. That's a good thing because I've got a lot to do, so I'm not going to be able to do this, but hopefully other people can learn from this. If you go down this homepage for crewAI, there's an example repository. And there's a bunch in here. So there's a trip planner, stock analysis, landing page generator, having human input on the execution of that. I watched 2 videos. I watched this HyperAgents one that was at the top, and I watched the stock analysis one here at the bottom. I didn't watch the vacation thing yet. This one is Trip Planner, which has the interactive, where you say what city do you want to go to and what But if you take a look at the examples here, the simplest one is Screenplay Writer. It's just a single Python file. That's it. And it's interesting, but that's all there is to that one. If you want to look at the one I was looking at earlier was, which one was I looking at? I was thinking because of the stuff, at least from what we're doing with YouTube, the Instagram post, just to understand, this layout is pretty normal. Look at main, and then you can set up inputs. You define your agents, which agents is over here. You can have tasks in a different file. You just do normal things. You set up your crew. It's amazing how you can piece all this stuff together. But the key part here is tools. Now with tools, you can define your own tools. So let me
so kind of searching internet and combining it.
Correct. Nice. So in this case, let's go to the wiki because this is the key part here. Agent tools. So the wiki's got everything. But agent tools defines creating your own tools. So it's based off of the LangChain tool, custom tool creation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So you'd set up a new file called browser tools. In this case, it's using browserless, which you would need an API key for. But if you know Python, that means you could probably use what's the Python that you can use that does scraping? I can't remember.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I just don't remember. So anyway, you can get content. The other thing that's nice is only get back the first 5,000 characters or whatever you want. But here's how you'd use it. So when you define the tool, you'd say browser tools, scrape website, which is scrape website.
Yeah.
And then how to
Very
use
cool.
existing tools. So I see a lot of promise in this. I'm just trying to figure out who are the agents in our lives. Like I've thought of other like domains in life to where, okay, this would be cool. I can think of 3 things, and these three people today that I know that end up together aren't usually sequential, but pretty close. So it's like, okay, I can model that and then just let it do its thing. But I'm just trying to figure out what would be next. I don't know.
This gives me ideas.
Well,
not necessarily ideas that will most likely not use CrewAI, like Engin, exactly.
Yeah.
Not necessarily ideas that will make me use CrewAI because it's not on my to-do list to get back to Python, right? But it shouldn't be that hard setting up something similar without it, right? Because right now I'm using in quite a few cases Azure OpenAI, right? And excluding now the option of using different models. Actually, I can load different models into Azure AI, right? And extending the code that I already have that makes one request to make multiple requests shouldn't be a big deal.
Yep. So here's the model, or here's the example using Azure's OpenAI.
Yeah.
To where you can specify the things. The thing that I like about it, because it's like, okay, you're primarily a Go person. I'm primarily a Java person. And dang it, this is in Python. But if you take a look at the mains of these things, I think pretty much anybody could write the main of this.
That you mean without the CrewAI itself?
Well, no. I'm saying
in CrewAI.
with
Yes.
CrewAI.
Yes.
If you look at the basic, like the main that I showed with the example, this main with Azure and some of the others, it's like anybody could really write this.
True.
Especially the agent definitions and the task definitions. That's like a business person. That's what I'm trying to get to. A business person could define the agent. A business person could define the task. Yeah, you might need somebody to help get it built.
Yes.
That's where I'm at right now.
You're right. But the problem is that I imagine many people using this not as a standalone, but within their applications, right? Like again, going back to my example, right? I have an application that I used when publishing video, all the tasks, everything that, among other things, uses AI. And having it inside it, not as a separate command prompt, means that I'm having much easier time feeding it data, right? I don't need to feed it data, kind of, hey, generate a title, right? I don't need to tell you what's it about because that's already information is already wherever it should be, right?
Yeah. So I will say, Luther here, playing with, okay, this isn't planned. I just decided to do it. I mean, if y'all like this, I don't mind trying to do live things.
Yeah.
It's a little more challenging. I just need time. It's like, I'll put it this way. You have more time to think like this than I do. Because I have to spend 10 hours editing the next podcast.
True.
But that's the thing is you can think. I want to get through a couple of comments here real quick. Let me flip us back up, and we'll come back to this if we have a minute left. I had not heard about this. Had you heard about this?
Yes, I know because Stefan Prodan, acquaintance, friend, however you want to call him, he's out. Yeah.
What does that mean to Flux? Does it mean anything?
I think that Flux is busted.
Okay.
I think I might be wrong. So if I'm wrong, apologies. But I think it's not just the usual layoffs companies do. I think that Weaveworks is busted. And that raises a question, what will happen to the projects we like from Weaveworks, specifically Flux, right?
Well, there's probably one that's even more important than Flux.
Which one?
Well, EKS Cuddle.
Yeah, not to me.
Not to you, but I think Amazon or AWS ended up taking that.
A
while back.
So I'm more concerned for Flux because Flux is a Weaveworks project, right? EKS Cuddle is a project that was paid by AWS, right? So AWS can just take it over or pay somebody else to do it, right? I wouldn't worry about that one. Because let's face it, EKS Cuddle is in AWS documentation, that's the first option they offer. That's their officially unofficial way to create and manage Kubernetes clusters, right?
Yeah. It is now. It used to not be.
Yeah.
And then it became
because, because the CloudFormation was not getting much traction. AWS CLI is impossible to use.
That's what I was getting ready to get to. Is AWS space EKS was.
Oh no, please no.
EKS Cuddle was just like a breath of fresh air when Weaveworks released it. It was just like
it's absolutely great.
Yeah. Even though it's still doing CloudFormation under the hood. Right?
I don't care. Because
I don't. That's
why
the
do I
part.
care? That's the point.
Care.
I mean, it could be, I don't know, writing things in an Excel sheet and then uploading that Excel sheet to S3 bucket and then letting technicians in AWS do it themselves manually. As long as that happens decently fast, I cannot care less.
Yeah.
Where I do start to care about those things is when I'm told that specific issue or limitation cannot be overcome because of the underlying technology. Then I start caring about it. Like, what do you mean you cannot do this, right? But until that happens, I couldn't care less.
But Eric's comment, layoffs continue. You're a gamer, sort of. You saw all the layoffs at Microsoft this week for Xbox and whatever. I saw one of our friends, she got laid off from Riot.
Exactly. And then I have this is anecdotal because I cannot base statistics on that, right? But there is an alarming number of people I know, work with, or meet that have been laid off in the last 2 months. Like a number. I have a feeling, and again, this is anecdotal, that now the layoffs that we were seeing in big tech is now happening in smaller companies, right? Because many of the people I know are in smaller startup type of companies, and they're butchering people right now, right? It's not nice. I mean, not nice. It's a reality, but it's happening, and it's not unexpected, to be honest, because what I guessed a while ago, when we started having crisis with laying off in Microsoft, other companies, and at the same time we had the issue with that VC money dried out. Now we're seeing that effect, right? Now we're seeing smaller companies who don't have a relatively long runway going bankrupt.
Money's not free anymore.
That's the key word, right? Because much of the tech was happening kind of, we're not earning any money. We will not be earning money, but we have 10 years runway through continuous influx of VC money, right?
I want to try to get through because we're almost at the top of the hour. Doesn't Excel run Python? Yes, it does, which is scary. Excel runs everything all the time. I would say probably the number one programming language in the world is Excel macros.
But is that Python now? Is it kind of also Python?
Also Python. Also Python.
Yeah. Okay.
Sebastian brought this up. You could use AI to write the crew definition.
There you go.
Oh, okay, good. Ian says Stefan moved to control plane. It's going to continue.
Exactly.
Okay.
I did not. I wasn't sure how public that is, but yes.
Okay. All right. This is 2020 so far. Either brutal layoffs or crazy promotion of folks. Yes. And one call it, and Karen, and for the people I missed hellos earlier, 21 people up today. I think that's probably the largest number that we've had live with us at any point in time. That's pretty cool. That's I wonder why. Because we're not doing anything special today.
Just happened.
It just happened. Don't try to figure out. Look, if you ever want to do YouTube, don't try to figure it out.
Embrace randomness.
Just embrace it and be fine with it.
You know, in the other channel, that was Toolkit, right? In the past, I had those predictions like, oh, this video is going to be successful. Oh, this one, I do it because I enjoy that subject, but this is going to be a failure and things like that. All those are completely random. Completely random.
Yeah, it just depends. So I guess everybody's homework this weekend is to figure out how you can use crewAI, even if you don't like Python. I would recommend setting up in a virtual environment. If you don't understand how to do virtual environments, I'm going to add a post to the list is how I did it, because it's been so long since I did it. And otherwise, it was pretty straightforward. I'm still like scratching my head going, boy, what could I use this for? What am I... Because the thing that made it interesting to me is being able to specify different models for different agents. That's the key part there. Because...
That's the key part.
Actually, where am I at? Let's go back over to Olama real quick, because we made fun of the... I think it was olama.dev. Nope. What was it? Olama. There it is. AI. Of course it's AI. Under models, even though the site is sort of there was one for, because I said, rats. Find SQL. SQL Coder. SQL Coder is a code completion model fine-tuned on StarCoder for SQL generation tasks. So StarCoder is another model. So they use SQL Coder to do that. There's, here's one for medical domains. So thinking back to the example we saw, you have an analyst, but then the writer actually would use Metatron because they wanted to use medical things. What are y'all talking about? Let's see. Oh, let's answer Nico's question here. Which cloud provider from Big for you is the best and why?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Google Cloud. Because I'm a simple person, cannot do complicated things, and I feel that Google Cloud gives me the right level of abstractions what I want, right? Hey, you want a Kubernetes cluster, GKE? Excellent. Specify, whichever tool you're using, specify a cluster itself, specify node pool, specify, and this is now optionally, right? Networking, if you want it to be special, but you don't have to, and off you go, right? AWS gives me more freedom, but it's darn complicated. It's just too many moving pieces, too low level, right? So to answer your question, I prefer Google Cloud because it's a higher level of abstraction, right?
And everything lives in a project. So when you're done with the project, you can delete
Oh,
the
that's
project.
another thing. I choose Google Cloud or Azure because they have projects or resource groups. The nightmare that I'm having with AWS, trying to hunt down all the... Sometimes things go wrong, right? And then I need to go... here's a good example, actually. I got... 2 days ago, I accidentally pushed credentials to my Git repo for both Google Cloud and AWS. And I immediately got notifications from both. And notifications essentially say, revoke those the permissions, users, right? Easy, no problem. And then check whether somebody created resources, hijacked those credentials and created resources. Now, in Google Cloud, what did I do? I deleted the project that was for which those permissions were assigned, right? Easy. Delete the project. I did not even look at which resources somebody might have or might have not created, right? In AWS, I had to go through every single region. So how many regions do we have? Like 50? Nobody knows how many regions. And then in each region, okay, did somebody create EC2 instances? That's most important. That costs most, right? No. And It's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
Yeah. That's the project, the billing and management, that kind of thing is more important to me. I'm gonna spin what you said earlier. Google and to a point Azure are like buying a Lego box that has instructions on the model you're going to build.
Yep.
AWS is a bucket of Legos that you have left over
and
with the exact same
that,
pieces.
And the first two give you the box as well.
Yes. As I'm saying, it's just
there
a
is
bucket.
A box and there are instructions.
Yeah. and now, nothing against AWS, because having that low level is sometimes, and a lot of times, really powerful, and you need it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But in your credential
you cannot
problem,
fine-tune Google Cloud as much as you can fine-tune AWS.
Right. So if you need the knobs and switches, AWS is the right answer. If you don't need the knobs and switches, then AWS is still okay, but you might want to look otherwise.
And that's why AWS is winning.
Yeah.
Right? Because you go to a company and they say, hey, should we use Google Cloud or AWS? And AWS comes and says, you see those knobs? And you say, yeah, I don't need them. Yeah, but think about it. You might need them one day. You don't know that whether you will need them, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know that day will come. Probably will not. But you have it. So
this comment from Dimitro, you're underutilizing AWS organizations, and I don't disagree.
Yes, I am underutilizing it, but it's yet another
thing you have to do, right? That's something you have to pay first.
Do, and also yet another thing that was added later, right? So there is a big difference about Google Cloud is organized around projects, right? It's not an optional thing, right? It's not whether you want to run it in a project or no. That's internal part. That's a part of it, right?
Right. Sorry, I was checking the calendar real quick. I'm trying to remember. Here, I got to look this up real quick because I can't remember. We are here next week because we're at the top of the hour and I actually have to go. I'm late for a meeting. So yeah, we'll be here next week, which is the 2nd, but then we'll probably will not be here on the 9th. So that'll give me a week off to actually maybe play with crew and come up with some ideas.
Yeah.
Because on the 9th, you're going to be probably still asleep.
I did not even bother to check the difference in time zone. Hawaii, that's
between me and you. It's going to be 5 hours. I think we did the math last week.
5 hours between me and you at that time.
And where I am.
Okay,
yeah. From where you're at right now, it's 11 hours.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh man.
It would be 8 in the morning. I know that's not going to happen.
Most likely not.
That's fine. It'll be good because I'll need a week off by then anyway. So there's only so much of you that I can take care of. Just handle. That's it. Okay. Anyway, next week.
Your audio is now completely messed up, so close it fast.
Again next week. Still?
It's the end. We're finished. Goodbye.
Still?